I'm Jim Brickman. Welcome to the Brickman Bedtime Story. Even great days can be exhausting, but full of thoughts that don't always shut down when you hit the pillow. This time is meant to help you focus on stories and topics that feel good, that relax your mind, and help you get in the right space. Shut it down and get the quality rest and recharge that you need to take on the day with a smile. Then some soothing music to drift you off to dreamland. Today I'm joined by my Jim Brickman Show co-host, Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob. I guess that is a good bedtime story name for me.
Yeah.
Because I like the youngest person in my life is my niece. She's 4. And oftentimes when I'm over there, that's my job. Uncle Bob reads her a bedtime story.
I think it's better than Grandpa Bob.
For now, yes. Considering I have daughters in their 20s, I like that a lot better than Grandpa Bob.
But we're going to talk a little bit about that path to sleep. Bob is here to share some of his thoughts and some of the people that we get a chance to talk to, some of the experts in health and wellness and sleep. After writing my book, Soothe, I got a lot of direction from great medical professionals on how we can help ourselves to calm and bring down a little bit of the stress before we go to sleep at night.
What are your rituals that you have as you're winding down at night?
I think like all of us, things just start turning around in my mind all the time. I find herbal tea really helps me. Specifically, this holy basil tea. Holy basil.
Holy basil.
But there's something in it. I don't know. It's It's not like basil. It doesn't necessarily taste like basil, but I'm sure it's derived from that. But it's really calming. It really is. And also, a lot of times I take this herbal supplement, L-theanine. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly right. But it's a completely herbal.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see, if it's an L, then that's what's called. It's an amino acid.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're not just Uncle Bob, you're Dr. Bob as well.
I guess so.
L means it's an amino acid?
Yeah, it's like an L-theanine, that's typically like amino acids have those types
I know it has
names.
tryptophan in it.
Yeah, you know what else has, like if you want a good bedtime snack, something that also has tryptophan in it is garbanzo beans. Really? So if you're a fan of hummus, that's a great late night snack. I don't know if you've ever noticed, if you eat some hummus, you'll feel a little sleepy later, and it kind of helps,
Is that why we have it on tour?
Probably,
I didn't realize that. Is this the time to tell me I should have had some hummus before bed?
Instead of the M&Ms, and that's because, if you're hitting the candy before you go to sleep, then of course that's sugar that your body is going to want to use for energy right now. And alcohol, much the same way. We'll do the same thing
at night. I don't drink, but that's difficult. But really, try not to eat too much at night. It's hard, of course.
Because I don't know about you, but if you do eat too much before you go to bed, number one, wacky dreams. Number two, the stomach never feels quite right in the morning.
Yeah.
So
I've been sleeping pretty good lately between the
L-theanine,
and the holy basil.
I think the tea is a great idea because, like chamomile tea, anytime I have chamomile tea, I'm asleep like in 10 minutes, which is great. And I think part of that is just sitting down. You sit down with the tea. It actually puts a pause in to your night where you can't really, it's more difficult to hold a phone if you're holding a cup of tea.
So there are a lot of relaxation techniques that you can find online and that sort of thing. But we thought that we would guide you, especially if you are with us right now and you are listening to the Brickman Bedtime Story. Maybe you're lying down. Hopefully you are. You're taking a load off and you're trying to calm and take it down a notch. We got some great ideas for you throughout the weeks that we're doing this show. to help you. A lot of them come from great experts from the Sleep Foundation. And so Bob is going to share a little bit of some of the relaxation techniques that we learned from a great doctor at the Medical University of South Carolina.
And this is a good friend of mine, Dr. Jeffrey Borkhardt. Now, this is he works in all types of studies with the brain, and a lot of it is how to he deals with correcting pain and epilepsy and things like that. But when he was in school, when he was an undergrad, and he was working on his PhD in psychology, I often was his guinea pig, his test subject for some of these things that he was working on, because he said that when I was his test subject, that the results were always interesting. And I don't know exactly what that means, but we'll go with it. But one of the things that he worked on a lot was nighttime relaxation and self-hypnosis, which is kind of this, you can get into that space if you really want to and really concentrate. But really, it's just a great technique for relaxing. And interestingly enough, the National Sleep Foundation says about the same thing, is when you lay down and close your eyes and get yourself as comfortable as you can on your back, and just really, feel your body as it touches the sheets and the covers, and kind of be really aware of your surroundings and feel that everything is comfortable. Once you get to that point, then start to slow your breathing down. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth very slowly. Feel your chest rise and fall, and kind of focus on that. And the reason you do this is, especially if you have an overactive mind, like I know yours is, mine's the same way, is it forces you to focus on one singular thing, and it starts to push all those other thoughts out. So, and then what I did is you kind of start, you visualize all the muscles in your toes, and you kind of wiggle your toes a little bit, and you feel them. And as you feel those muscles, you kind of consciously start to release that tension from those muscles in your feet and through the arch of your foot and through your heel, and just imagine that leaving your body with every exhale. And once you feel that you've sufficiently released all that tension, then you say goodnight to your feet, and then you move on to the next body part. As you move up, you do the same thing with your thighs, and then your legs, and then through your lower back, and especially anywhere that you have tension and pain, really focus on those areas. And when I do that, I don't make it past my back very often, because you're so focused on this one singular thing that, you start to what I like to refer to as one of the greatest feelings, which is the crush of sleep. You just feel it, where you just kind of feel your body release and your eyes shut, and nighty-night.
So we have a few more for you that if you have difficulty sleeping, you might want to try some of these. Starting with turning off electronics and rotate your clock away from you so that you don't look at the clock, watch the clock. And try not to worry that you can't fall asleep, and remind yourself that your body will eventually take over and help you sleep. If you're awake more than 20 minutes in bed, move to a different part of the house, one without bright lights.
What a great idea.
Yeah. Now, sometimes that's difficult because you want to sleep in bed.
Right.
But do something relaxing for a while. Maybe have a cup of tea until you begin to feel tired, and come back to bed while you're in another part of the house. I know a lot of people who sometimes will sleep in a comfortable couch. If they get up from bed, it's just not happening. They'll just lie in a place where you fall asleep in front of the TV sometimes when you're watching TV at night. Sometimes it's better to just stay there, right?
Right, yeah. If especially if you're having difficulty, don't okay, it's time, and then go back and toss and turn again. Just let it happen.
So this also from the National Sleep Foundation, pretty timely for the world we're living in. When it comes to your health, sleep plays an important role. With more sleep, you can really help prevent yourself from getting sick. Skimping on sleep could adversely affect your immune system, leaving you susceptible to a bad cold or a case of the flu. So to keep yourself sniffle-free this season, here's what you need to do. Without sufficient sleep, your body makes fewer cytokines.
Those sound important.
Ketokines?
Okay, it probably sounds right.
Cytokines. Doctors who are listening.
That's right. Thank you.
It's a type of protein that targets infection and inflammation, creating an immune response. They're both produced and released during sleep, causing kind of a double whammy. If you skimp on shut-eye, chronic sleep loss even makes the flu vaccine less effective by reducing your body's ability to respond.
That makes sense.
Stocking up on naps. I've always had a hard time napping because it makes me feel afraid that I won't sleep that night.
Oh, I love naps. I have that, and maybe this is also one of the reasons why I think that I've always had such a hard time going to bed at night. It's FOMO. Fear of missing out on something. Like something amazing is going to happen at 2 a.m. that I'm going to miss out on if I don't go to sleep.
Like the lunar eclipse or something?
No, that's something I guess I would plan for, but I do love staying up for those.
All right. The thing is about naps, especially during the flu season, get the recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Lately, I've been sleeping almost 9 hours.
That's fantastic.
I don't know if that's good or not, but
sounds glorious to me.
This is going to help your immune system in fighting shape and keep it that way. It also protects you from other health issues, including heart disease, as Bob and I know about, diabetes, and obesity. If your sleep schedule is interrupted by a busy work week or other factors, try to make up for the lost rest with naps during the day. Maybe taking 2 naps that are no longer than 30 minutes each, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. Amazing. They've shown to help decrease stress and offset the negative effects that sleep deprivation have on the immune system.
Can we work that in during like work days?
Yeah, we have a couch.
We do. That's true.
And since many of us are home now, figure people are probably doing that. I don't even know about it.
That's right.
Also, a 20-minute siesta in your lunch hour is another option, and maybe another right before dinner. I don't think I could do that. I could try. It has to be dark for me to sleep. That's, I think, the other thing.
I know that there's, I remember in Spanish class learning about that I think it's in Mexico, that's part of their work day is
and
split
Spain,
up.
In Europe.
Yeah, they have siestas.
Yeah.
They go home from work.
Yes.
They have lunch with their families. They take a little nap, and then they go back and work till 7 o'clock at night or something like that.
That would be if I were home after the morning working, I couldn't go back.
I mean, I bet if you were to just anything, it's probably all about mind training.
Yeah.
Once you're used to that routine, it probably just works.
And other healthy thoughts before we send you to sleep with some music. Mm-hmm. There's more to boosting your immunity and guarding against illness than getting sleep. Also important to practice smart, stay healthy strategies like washing your hands.
Yes, we've heard a lot about that, haven't we?
A lot about that with soap regularly, avoiding close contact with people, as we're talking about right now, and just keeping yourself safe and social distance. Although, I heard the other day that social distance is sort of a misnomer. It's
a physical
distance.
Physical distance,
that
right.
We're physically distant from each other, but we're not necessarily socially distant.
I don't know if you found this too, but I have, is that because of this, you make, in our regular lives, we're so busy and we try to make plans with people to go out somewhere, that we have to have this physical meeting in order to make the connection. I'm finding that I'm spending more time with people that I hadn't spent time with in a long time because we have all these great ways of communicating with FaceTime and with Zoom and Skype and Google.
Where you wouldn't have normally thought of that, even though you could still have done that.
Right, absolutely.
While the world was open, but...
Yeah, and even though we're talking about this in the midst of the peak of the COVID-19 crisis, the reason we're making these is that you can throw these on at any time in the future, and all these things will be good practices afterwards in order to stay healthy. And I'm hoping that two things continue after that. One is that we find ways to stay in contact with each other, even if we can't get together physically. And two, that people will wash their hands more, because nothing grosses me out more than, being someplace where somebody should be washing their hands and then they don't.
Yeah. We are going to do some music for you now. Mm-hmm. How about we do that?
I think that sounds like a wonderful thing to do as you're laying back and practicing your new techniques of saying goodnight to all your body parts before you go to bed.
You would have thought that I would have said music, but I think that's implied.
Yeah.
In what we're doing, since it's my Brickman Bedtime story. Of course, if there wasn't music, it might be kind of odd.
I think so. And I have used this music to go to sleep, and I think that anybody that hasn't, they'll understand why people for 25 years have used Jim Brickman solo piano music to fall asleep. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable, take some deep breaths, and good night. We'll see you again on the Jim Brickman Bedtime Story.